Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're keeping well. I'm Simon Connell and my co-host today is Ros Kipps.
Good afternoon.
So welcome to our virtual open day, all about university technical colleges, or as we call them, UTCs. Because of the current environment, this is the first open event that we've held online, and it's being broadcast from our homes across England. So thank you for joining us on this unique occasion. Today you'll hear from our amazing head teachers and students talking about what makes a UTC so special. You'll hear from some of our employer partners from companies such as Microsoft, Siemens, Fujitsu and Ubisoft, and they'll talk to you about how they work with UTCs, what they're looking for in the young people they hire, and what the opportunities are in the current jobs market. Now, before we get started, just a few quick house rules. Everyone is on mute. If you want to ask a question, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen or through the Facebook Live messaging page. The virtual open day will last about an hour and we'll have time left at the end to ask the panelists questions. There'll also be an opportunity to follow up with us afterwards if you want more information or if you want to know more about your local UTC. Right, let's get started. Before I spend a few minutes reminding everyone about the value of a UTC education, I'm going to show you a very short film to give you an overview.
I came to UTC because
my passion is aerodynamics.
I'd like to work in the NHS and be a doctor there.
I've always loved motorsport.
Well, I'd really like to go into the film industry.
Definitely want to go to university to be a doctor.
A university technical college is all about connecting students to their passion and engaging students in a relevant experience that gets them to their final destination.
At the moment in the UK there is a technical skills shortage. The concept of the university technical colleges is to take students from the age of 14 to make sure that they're academically secure and technically able and understand what employers want so that they can move smoothly into the world of work.
Working directly with employers at UTCs, those employers can have real lasting impact that is sustainable and adds value to them directly because our students can work on projects that actually help the employers.
We did a unit with McLaren.
I went to the Royal Liverpool Hospital.
Surrey Satellite Technologies based down in Guildford.
Working with projects with companies like this means that you can really get a feel for what it'd be like to work in the industry itself.
They expose young people to real-world challenges, to the latest in technology and experienced teaching.
The students that come out of the UTC will be employees of ours in the future, and therefore them being ready for work is incredibly important.
I finished at the UTC in the summer of 2012 and started Bentley in September. I think I do owe a lot of getting the job here to going to UTC.
They felt they were at work rather than at school. They've had a different attitude toward when they go to school and when they come back.
They want to be here, and because they want to be here, the attitude to learning seems to be more focused.
I mean, some of my friends will be the next leading scientific researchers, doctors.
The links with industry are vital. Here in the UTC, you will get what you will get nowhere else.
UTCs specialise in the skills young people need for the jobs of the future. We opened the first UTC 10 years ago because we kept hearing from employers all over the country that the education system wasn't giving them what they were looking for from talented young people. Yes, students had the right academic qualifications, but employers couldn't find enough with the skills which they were desperately short of in qualifications such as engineering and digital. More importantly, many schools were not developing students' attributes and attitudes, such as a positive mindset, problem-solving skills, resilience, teamwork, and leadership that every employer is looking for. This country stood a chance of meeting the current and future skill shortages in engineering, digital, health, and creative industries like media. 10 years later, we've created a family of 48 UTCs all across England, educating close to 15,000 students. So why choose a UTC? Before I answer that question, I want to remind you how UTCs are different to other schools and how they provide an education today for tomorrow's jobs. Firstly, it's important to remember that UTCs are state-funded schools, just like many thousands around the country. They're funded by government and so are free to attend. However, UTCs mainly specialise in science, technology and engineering, and they start at Key Stage 4, which means you can join when you're 13 or 14 years of age and go through to the end of sixth form. It's also worth remembering that at UTCs, young people learn many of the same subjects as other schools, such as maths, English and sciences. But on top, they study technical qualifications as well, such as product design, engineering, digital, and so on. In addition, there's some time in the school day to take other qualifications, such as geography or history or a foreign language. We call UTCs the Schools Plus. They offer the most important academic qualifications, plus a range of technical subjects. The choice of technical subjects depends on the UTC specialisms. These have two. This could be engineering or health and creative media, or a combination of those. The specialisms were originally chosen by the employer partners who helped to set up the UTC. In addition to getting qualifications in these specialisms, other parts of a UTC education, such as project-based learning, where employers help to set parts of the curriculum, employer mentoring and work experience are all linked to the specialist subject offered by the UTC. I mentioned that employers are at the heart of every UTC. This is also true for universities. Many young people leaving UTCs either progress to university or go on to the world of work, either as an apprentice or into a job. By working with the UTC, employers and universities get to know the young people before they join them. It's a bit like a long but friendly and supportive interview process. At the same time, employer and university involvement helps our students make more informed decisions about what they want to do next. Now, in order for UTCs to excel in technical qualifications and training, they're all fortunate to have industry standard equipment. This ensures that young people really do learn how to use the software and equipment which employers are using. All UTCs are newly built schools with great facilities, which were chosen in conjunction with industry. Finally, it's unsurprising that with such strong employer and university engagement, UTCs have a big focus on student destinations. We're very proud of where young people go after they leave us at 16 or 18. Of course, in addition to the academic and technical qualifications, UTCs nurture those attitudes, such as a positive mindset, and aptitudes, such as problem solving and teamwork, which every employer is looking for. This means that our students are very often at the front of the queue for a popular university choice or for a competitive apprenticeship place. So today, we're a family of 48 UTCs around England, educating close to 15,000 students. And as you can see from the map, UTCs are spread out all over the country, so hopefully there's one close to you. Down the sides are some pictures of our impressive UTC school buildings, which gives you a feel for what they're like. Because we focus on what employers are looking for, and they were originally involved in the design, UTCs are more business-like on the outside as well as on the inside compared with many other schools. One question we're often asked is which employers do we work with? Which employers do universities, UTCs partner with? You'll hear from some of our employer partners later, but the names on this slide are just some of the 400 plus employers that support UTCs across the country. Typically, a UTC will have between 5 and 10 employer partners, comprising of large and small companies. I'm sure you'll recognize many of the names here. Of course, many employers, such as Siemens and Fujitsu, are on the call with us today, work with more than one UTC, often in different parts of the country. So why choose a UTC? Well, UTCs, as well as being a Schools Plus, offering an academic and prepare young people for the next stage of their lives. UTCs are destinations focused and provide an education today for tomorrow's jobs. You can see this in the student destinations after leaving their UTC and what parents and students think of the experience. Because of their technology, their STEM focus, UTC leavers are more likely to go on to study a STEM course at university. Indeed, 3/4 of our leavers who go on to university take a STEM course, which is twice the national average. About 1/4 of UTC leavers at 18 start an apprenticeship, but more than half do so at higher in degree levels. This is more than 5 times the national average. Why? Because of the aptitudes, attitudes, and skills of our students. Unsurprisingly, nearly all, 85% of students, believe that attending a UTC has made them much more confident of their ability to succeed in the world of work. And our survey suggests that parents think that practical work experience through project-based learning, through employer mentoring, and through on-site work shadowing, all offered by UTCs, are an important part of every student's education. These are just 4 of the many reasons why students choose UTCs. But I'll finish with one more. Our country, like the rest of the world, is going through a crisis at the moment. When we emerge from this, skilled healthcare professionals, the heroes of the hour, skilled digital and computing professionals, necessary to keep the country connected, and skilled manufacturing professionals who are vital as companies bring more of their supply chain back to England, will be in huge demand in the future. UTCs across the country provide the right education and training for all of these industries and professions. Thank you. So you've now heard enough from me, and so I'd like to hand over to some of our outstanding head teachers and their students to tell you more about what it's like to go to a UTC. Before hearing from them, here's a very short film where you'll learn about UTCs from some other students.
I knew a UTC would make me stand out.
I joined because I felt like my other school did not challenge me enough technically.
My UTC has given me a sense of who I am and what I can achieve in life.
I believe coming to a UTC is an invaluable experience.
And the placements they've given me have really helped me to connect with the people that are already in industry, so I have a head start.
Going to UTC is like going to a school and a workplace at the same time, but it has a better feel on who you are.
You're provided with a lot more freedom and you're giving a lot more responsibility for your education.
UTC provides you with career mentors and industry mentors that come in from the businesses that we're connected to. And they present ways that you can go into industry and they guide you through your career.
My UTC helped me to get my position at Jaguar Land Rover by massively increasing my confidence in myself.
Going to UTC has transformed me and my future. I've now been offered a degree apprenticeship with Peterborough Associates, one of the leading engineering companies in the country.
I have 5 offers from top universities to study engineering, and I've been offered jobs from the companies that we've worked with throughout the time here at UTC.
I have so many possible opportunities coming from a UTC and then transitioning into Jaguar Land Rover. The UTC will push you and you will get where you want, because I did it and I proved that it can be done.
We have 2 head teachers and 2 Year 13 students with us to tell us firsthand what's so special about their UTC experiences. First of all, Cherry, you're principal at Energy Coast UTC in Cumbria. Tell us what's different about a UTC from your perspective.
Hello, well, as some people have already said, as Simon's already said, and some of the students that we've been working with, there are some things that are the same about a UTC and there are some things that are very different. So let's start with some similarities. Compared to your normal mainstream secondary school, there are some things that are the same. So we study some of the same qualifications. You'll take, if you're doing GCSEs, maths, English, science, GCSEs. If you're in the 6th form, you'll probably do some A-levels, maybe in some academic subjects, say maths or physics. And you'll be expected to work really hard. That doesn't change. That's the same wherever you are, I'm afraid. So those high expectations are still very much there. And we make no apology for having that academic rigour. So some of those things are the same. What's different? We talked about qualifications, and some of the qualifications you do, as I've said, are the same. Some are really different. So my UTC is an engineering UTC. So you might study with us civil engineering. You might study the latest CAD/CAM design. You might study cyber security. You might do professional qualifications in welding and machining. If you're in the 6th form, you might do similar things. You might learn construction and civil engineering techniques. You might learn complex electrical engineering and how to rewire really important things. There's a vast range of qualifications that you can take that are industry standard, as well as the ones you might do in a normal school. And that's important. You're all doing all those qualifications using fantastic facilities, and that's a massive difference to a normal school. So in a normal school, you might have a tech room, you might have a science lab. You come to a UTC, you have got state-of-the-art, industry standard experience in amazing, fantastically equipped workshops. And that makes an incredible difference. So you're learning to do those things in my UTC, to weld, etc., to machine, on industry standard equipment, the same sort of stuff you'll be using when you get a job or go to university, and you're using it in fantastic workshop facilities. And better than that, you're doing it with employers. And I know one of my fellow head teachers is going to talk to you about that in a minute. but you're working with employers in industry standard workshops, doing exciting things alongside your academic qualifications, and that's important. The whole atmosphere is a bit different as well. The students are all age 14 plus, so you're treated like young adults, the young adults you are, and the whole atmosphere around the place with no younger students is very work-based. So certainly we treat you as if you were at work. And guess what? That comes with a responsibility to behave and work as if you were at work. And that's good. And around the UTC all the time, you'll see different employers. Every day, different employers are in, and that makes a difference. We explicitly talk to you and teach you, and you'll learn about employability skills. So we look at what the CBI have said is important: resilience, leadership, teamwork. We teach you those as part of your lessons. So when you're learning to machine, when you're learning to do civil engineering, when you're doing cybersecurity, but we teach you it explicitly as well. And that's really important. You're learning, what does resilience in a workplace mean? And that's important if you want to get a job and keep a job. So in addition to that, and you might say, really, something else? Yeah. In addition to that, you're working with employers every day on real life projects, and that's really important. So you see the relevance of that maths GCSE. You see the relevance of that physics A-level. You see how the stuff you learn there actually makes a difference by working directly with an employer, using that academic knowledge in a practical way to deliver a real life employer project. Our students work with employers, as I've said, on a daily basis, but they also work with them on big extended projects, looking at exactly what a person would look at if they were working in a real life work situation. And one of my colleague head teachers, Jeffrey, who is the principal down in London, is going to talk to you about how they do that at their UTC.
Lovely. Thank you, Cherry, very much. So what you hear there is that we are the same in many ways as many schools, but we like to describe it as two golden tickets. The first golden ticket is the same GCSEs, A-levels like Cherry describes. But the second golden ticket is the experience. And the experience is really second to none that you can get at the UTC. So on the screen at the moment, you can see a project that our students have just recently done with Space Popular and the Royal Institute of British Architects. And this is where the students have worked together to create an exhibition which has virtual elements as well as real elements. So these projects allow the students to really communicate with the workforce that they're looking forward to going into. And therefore it's giving them the confidence to be able to communicate well, to be able to look them in the eye and speak the same sort of language that they're looking for. So these, these projects can really make a change to how you go into industry. So it gives you something to talk about when you're in interview and etc. Another project that our learners have worked on is a company called Augmentify It. So what you see here is a set of cards where you've got the elements and you can then wave a phone over the top and use augmented reality. And what that then does is that it shows the element that's on the cards, and the element then pops up onto your phone so you can see what the physical element looks like. Now this is a project between 4 students, where one of the students created the elements in their CAD lessons. Another one was a science student who worked out the questions on the back of the cards. And then another student was looking at the media side of it, of how to put it all together. But they worked with the company Augmentify It, and they've developed this app. And this app is now one of the top 100 apps in the world for education. And it's won lots of different awards with Mums Awards and things like that. So really quite something different. So those are sort of main scale projects that we do. We work with companies like Costain, Skanska, Thames Water, Fujitsu, IBM. Our learners have gone on to incredible placements. So for instance, on average, so last year, 56% went into the workplace and 44% went into university. And the year before, it was similar numbers. But the workplace, they're going to companies like Rolls-Royce, the Navy, Sky TV. And like you heard on the video, the learners don't just get one offer, they get many offers because they can talk about what they've done at the UTC. They can talk with pride about their experiences, which really makes them, that next generation of work-ready employees.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Before we move on to speaking to one of your students and one of Cherry's as well, I just wanted to ask the two of you what advice you would give to students in the current environment in particular. So, Jeffrey, do you want to go first and then Cherry?
Oh, yes, certainly. I think at the moment, I've kind of, I'm going to take it from a slightly different view. Yes, you've obviously got the work that you need to be doing and you need to be continuing. But the view I would take is that, what is it that you can do special from at home? And I'll just give you an example of one of our learners, a student called Duresh in year 13, and he's created this group of like-minded people who are making visors for the NHS. So if you look at their Twitter handle, makers for NHS, and it's something that they've done really special. So they've stepped out above and beyond, rather than just sitting at home and just waiting for the next thing to happen. They've taken the skills that they've learned at the UTC, and now that particular one, they've got over 40 different people from across the country working with IBM, manufacturing thousands and thousands of visors for the NHS. So great work.
That's incredible. Yeah, particularly needed at the current time. Thank you. Cherry, over to you. Any advice for students in the current environment?
Well, I think you've got to start off in the current environment with saying to all of you, keep safe, stay at home and keep safe. I know it's a message you hear every day, but young people seem, some of them anyway, to be finding that quite hard. And it's hard for all of us, but you really do need to do that. You need to be staying at home and keeping safe. Having said that, of course, there's other things you can be doing. If you're in year 11 and you're thinking about sixth form place now, if you're in year 9 and you're thinking, haven't been at school for a bit, looking forward to going back or not, then you can use this time really constructively. Yeah, of course, you need to be doing the work that your current school is setting you. That's important. And it's important even if you think, oh, well, I don't need to do it because I'm not going to be taking exams this year, if you're in year 11. It is important because you need to be thinking about your next steps. So first up, you're right, keep up with the work. Our students at the UTC are doing some things like many other UTCs up and down the country. We're producing visors for the NHS as well. But one of the things we've said to our students, and I'd say the same to you, is what's your next step? What would you like to be doing in the future? Where do you see yourself in the future? And what could help you get there? And if what you see yourself doing is anything in an area that one of the UTCs near you specialises in, then have a look at what they offer from them is. Have a look at their website, do a bit of research. At our UTC, almost 90% of our students go on and get apprenticeships, high-level apprenticeships, degree-level apprenticeships, with the remainder going to university. At some other UTCs, for example, some of the life science UTC, many of their students go on and do medicine or go into the healthcare profession, with most going to university. So do your research, spend a bit of time, invest some time in your future, because you know what? You're the person that's going to live it. So really have a look at what's on offer that might be right for you next.
Excellent advice, Cherry. Thank you so much. We have a couple of current students here with us as well. Rihanna from Energy Coast UTC and Theo from London Design and Engineering UTC. Rihanna, let's go to you first. What made you decide to join the UTC?
I was previously at a local academy, which is like a normal secondary school, and I chose to come to UTC as I wasn't enjoying learning as much anymore. As unusual as it may seem, I did quite enjoy the school environment. So when this started to change, I knew that I had to do something about it. I started to feel like I wasn't going to do so well in my studies, and I just needed to go somewhere new. I also wanted to do more practical work and work with local employers, which I have done endlessly since I started at UTC. For example, we're always in the workshops doing little bits that we want to do. As soon as we're qualified and we know what to do, we can, with the guidance, we can use the machines when we want to. And earlier this year, I was part of a 14-week programme with Morgan Sindall, where we had to design renewable energy for West Cumbria for the next 20, 30 years. And during this time, we got to work with site managers, structural engineers, civil engineers, electrical engineers, and go on site visits, which we probably wouldn't have got if I stayed at my old school.
Absolutely. And Theo, how does that compare to your experiences? Why did you choose to move to a UTC?
Sure. So for me personally, I remember getting a letter from Newham, so it's our local authority, through the post, and it was advertising this concept of this brand new innovative education provider on the Royal Docks. This was back in 2015 maybe, and it promised to be learner-centered, high-tech with a focus on academic excellence, but with employer engagement as well, so that you could then achieve your standard GCSE and A-level qualifications just like everybody else, but in the process become an individual who is equipped to thrive in your future workplace because of the skills and expertise you've gained from engaging with an employer at such an early stage in your career development. So that was a really exciting concept for me.
What's different about the UTC to your previous school?
For me, what's quite unique about a UTC is that I don't think you're just a number or a name on a register. You become part of this business environment where you greet everyone by their first name, and it's a place where you're given the same amount of independence and trust as you would in a large corporation or a workplace. And I've said it before, and I will say it again, I think like Cherry said, the industry spec equipment at the UTC is just outstanding. After coming here for 4 years, I can't see how non-UTC students will be able to live up to a UTC student in the same apprenticeship role, for example, due to just the sheer amount of experience you gain with various manufacturing and design techniques using the state-of-the-art equipment. So I can speak all day about how great our UTC is, but the proof lies with our results, particularly as well. Our college being in the top 1% for nationwide for technical qualifications this past exam season. It's just a league above my previous school, and I would not hesitate recommending the UTC experience to any prospective student or parent.
Well, glowing recommendation there. Thank you, Theo. Rihanna, back to you. What's different? What's the biggest difference, do you think, to your previous school?
There's quite a lot. The lessons are much more interesting and interactive, and the staff relate the lessons to real life scenarios, so you can kind of see why you have to learn it, because I know a lot of the times you don't really see the point in it. Like Theo said, you get the staff know you on a personal basis, so you can trust them and go and speak to them about anything. It makes the whole situation a lot easier and more manageable. The teachers and everyone help you as much as they can, either in your studies or personally, whichever way they can. And the general mood of the school, even though you've still got to have the high level of education and discipline and stuff like that, it's a lot more light and friendly, so you don't feel as like stuck in a school environment as such.
That's great, thank you. Final question for you before I let you go. How has the UTC prepared you for the next stage of your life? What are you going on to do?
Without the UTC, I don't know where I would be or what I'd be doing in the future. They've given me so much more confidence and guidance and to pursuing the subjects that I enjoy doing and hopefully can do in the future. They've also introduced me to employers and experiences I wouldn't have got if I remained at my old school. The careers advice that you get with that, as well as help me understand what I'm interested in, because I didn't really know. And I can't thank the school enough for what they've done for me as a person and as a student. And I would definitely recommend any UTC to anyone thinking about the next stage of their education.
Thank you, Rihanna. Theo, what are you up to next? Where are you off to next year?
Yeah, so talking about how it's prepared me, I feel like it's not just as an academic, but as an individual as well. So like Jeffrey said, we have these golden tickets, as he puts it, like with the amount of skills that we've gained. So I'm an offer holder with Imperial College London for medicine for next year. So I hope to be going there in October for the next stage in whatever next.
Excellent. Thank you both so much for joining us today. It's great to hear from you firsthand, your own experiences, and best of luck with your next steps.
Thank you very much.
Jaguar Land Rover decided to partner with UTCs to ensure that we had the right skills for the right jobs at the right time.
Our company depends on hiring creative talent. Partnering with UTCs gives us access to young people with the skills that we need.
They connect young people and businesses, and by doing so they give young people real life skills.
What differentiates a UTC student is their business readiness, their passion and enthusiasm for the world of work.
They know how to work in a professional environment. They understand how important teamwork, collaboration, and disruptive thinking is in a professional community.
Jaguar Land Rover work collaboratively with UTCs by understanding their curriculum, by having engineers in here working with students.
We work with UTCs at a strategic level to shape what the computing and engineering curriculum should look like for young people to thrive.
And the students come to work with our experts at the factory.
UTCs are an important talent pipeline for Jaguar Land Rover and companies like ours.
Students have access to apprenticeships, work experience and internships.
It's all about creating pathways for young people, whether that's into higher education or into apprenticeships and employment.
Partnering with UTCs is a natural decision for us because it enables us to reach out to and connect with young people aged 14 to 19 and skill them up with the technology and the digital skills of the future.
Businesses get work-ready individuals who can get up to speed much more quickly. And of course, as a consequence, they will drive our businesses in the future.
The students from UTCs can power the great British economy.
So moving on, we have 4 of our UTC employer partners with us this afternoon as well. Now, these have a range of interactions with UTCs. We're going to start off with Alex James from Siemens. Please do tell us about your experiences working with a UTC.
Oh, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay? Oh, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Alex James and I'm part of the Siemens education team. I'm not sure how many of you are already familiar with Siemens. We tend to touch the lives in a very invisible way without you even knowing that. So things that you might sort of be familiar with are huge wind turbines in terms of renewable energy in line with making energy greener. We're working very hard at the moment to keep electricity and lights on in people's homes. If you were to go into hospital, you might sort of see some of our MRI scanners, and our reagent really supports the blood and urine testing that enables identification to take place. And believe it or not, we also are in the mobility business. So, you know, servicing trains as well as traffic lights is part of our everyday bread and butter. So a bit of an invisible force really, but ultimately I think what we do is provide digital solutions to our customers. It's great that you've all joined today and safely and digitally, so thank you to the UTC for that. This is an absolute first for me, but what is really great is to be able to reinforce that digital focus that we're all aiming towards. A lot of the work that we do, we support about 5 UTCs, and I think somebody said earlier, and they are across the UK. So between Sheffield or Leeds, Hull, Lincoln and Crewe. And typically they tend to sort of fall in line with some of our sites across the UK, and that partnerships really works well. It works well from the perspective that we can provide mentors and support, whether it's career events or curriculum-based, project-based advice. And this is really about bringing real life matters to life. So earlier, I think one of the students sort of said, oh, you know, this isn't a hypothetical situation. You're right, it's not. You know, you're going to work on real life projects that have meaning, have focus, and are actually delivering a solution. You know, it's a win-win. So, you know, some of the technologies that we use are really, really exciting when you think about, you know, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality. And we're doing some really great stuff about digital twinning that's helping us to really kind of bring solutions and challenges ahead of the game, so we can bring that to life in a very digital way and preempt in many ways. I'm conscious I've got 3 minutes, but I'm also conscious that this is also a really worrying time for many of you. And I really want to be able to reassure you in some way that we're doing everything that we can. Our worlds have been massively disrupted with COVID-19, and I think we're all thinking of different ways in which we can be creative and still support you. So very aware of the exam situations, and some of the things that we are doing, or we're doing massively differently and having to. So whether that is, reinventing the way in which we do work experience and it's a bit more online, how we assess individuals, again, taking a bit more of a digital approach. And again, things like today, awesome. Normally we'd be standing on a stand talking to you personally, and in an ideal world, that's great. But when we need to be at home and we need to be in safer times, this is a fantastic solution. And I think the other message that I'd like to leave with is, I'll let you into a little secret. It's not just about your credentials, your curriculum-based credentials. We're really interested in your attitude. So yes, aptitude is important, but your attitude and the way that you approach tasks are really important in what we look for in all of our team members. So how you treat people, can you be creative in your problem solving? Those are really, really important. So don't forget that. That's my top tip as I leave you. Remember your attitude. It's really important in what it can bring.
Thank you so much, Alex. Great top tip at the end there. Now, Fujitsu support 11 UTCs across the country. John Lockwood's here to tell us more.
Hi everyone, I hope you are all staying safe out there. Yeah, I'm here to promote Fujitsu's passion in supporting young people. Something that I've got a keen interest in. I'm actually a member of the Trailblazer group that's rewriting the Digital Technology Services Apprenticeship Standard, so it's really keen to me. We support young people through extensive apprenticeships and graduate recruitment. And a little bit about Fujitsu though. We are one of the biggest information technology providers in the world. We've got approximately 8,000 employees in the UK and Ireland, and we're currently supporting 11 UTCs through our digital hubs. We do far more than that as well. You might wonder who we provide services to. There on the screen now is just a small list of our customers across Europe, and there are many, many more besides. Me personally, I actually am responsible for teams that provide services to our border agency. So if you ever come through one of our airports or ports and use the channels there to retinal scanning and all that sort of thing, we actually provide and support that equipment and technology. We also do the flood warning service. We provide service to HMRC, Defence and National Security, and many other government departments as well. In the private sector, we provide services to people like H&M and Primark. If you shop there, you've probably coming across some of our technology. Many other organisations as well, rail companies, mobile phone companies, airports, all sorts. What I would like to say is we are always on the look for students that demonstrate a great attitude, much like Alex was saying earlier. It's attitude with an aptitude for tech. However, the one thing I want to reinforce here is the best results don't always mean that we get the best recruits. In fact, I can promise you that I've been on assessment centres where I've screened out someone who academically has all the right qualifications, but the attitude that they display at our assessment centres is such that I wouldn't have them in my team. So just make sure you're positive at all times. Enthusiasm and desire will take you a long way. Anyway, through the utilisation of our programmes, what we've found is we are creating far more diverse teams that reflect society. And that gives us an extra impetus, because that means that we have teams that come up with better ideas and better solutions for the problems and issues that society brings to us. Our Fujitsu Ambassador Programme seeks to encourage collaboration across educational establishments and promote sharing and technology in education. We've installed best-of-class technology into innovation hubs within UTCs, which we support along with some of our technology partners, such as Intel, Ruckus Networks, and Kyocera. These hubs are designed and equipped with a range of latest technology to promote the use of digital skills and digital skills development. We began our journey really with UTC Reading in 2015. We had initially made a promise to Lord Baker that we would provide innovation hubs in 10. We've now beaten that. We've gone beyond the 10. So that's because it is a success for us as well. I'd like to talk a little bit about our recruitment. I spend a lot of time focusing on recruitment of junior talent, and within my own teams, I have people that we've recruited directly from UTCs as degree apprentices, and I've also recruited graduates that started off at UTCs before going to university. So there are two routes which UTC use that helps us to get the best recruits possible. Just an example of some of the things that has happened that we've seen as a success. We had a team from Watford UTC where a group of students did some innovation, and so impressed us in a competition that we sent them to Fujitsu Forum, which is where we demonstrate all of our products and such like to the public and to our customers. We took them to Munich to be part of that process, so well done to them. We also have a Fujitsu program called CODE, or the Certificate of Digital Excellence. This is run with teachers, primarily at UTCs, to help them improve and keep abreast of technologies. And this covers things like Internet of Things, virtual reality, augmented reality, cybersecurity, data analytics, big data, programming, coding, robotics, artificial intelligence, cognitive computing. And on completion of an online course, we award a certificate to teachers to show that they reach the standards that we expect. And that in turn is reflected because the students are then taught by people that actually understand what it is that we need. We have a UTC cyber group as well, and this helps 14 to 19-year-olds prepare themselves for a career in cybersecurity. So on the screen there, you can see lots of things that we do. I just leave you with a couple of final thoughts myself. And it's really repeating a lot of what you've already heard, but I think it is so important. Attitude, aptitude, enthusiasm, ambition. Bring all those with you with an eye on the goal, on your goals, and it will take you a long way on your chosen career path. And if you choose us to take that path forward, so much the better for me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, John. And I'm just going to hand over to Giselle at Ubisoft for an extra perspective. Are you there, Giselle?
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's right.
Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to be part of this. My name is Giselle Stewart, and I am the Director of Corporate Affairs in the UK for Ubisoft. Up there on the screen, you may see a couple of our brands and our games that you might have come across. Assassin's Creed, For Honor, Watch Dogs, The Division, Steep, The Crew, Uno, Just Dance, to name a few, and of course Hungry Shark, played by 15 million players worldwide on a daily basis. I'm part of a global network. We have 18,000 people worldwide. And we actually have close to 650 people in the UK, around the UK at about 5 sites. So if you could just flip on to the next slide, please. Brilliant, thank you. We see UTCs as a gateway to the tech sector. We would like very much to help to provide the most industry relevant education, and UTCs were just a perfect vehicle for us to do that, to make sure we could help address not just the tech skills, the shortage that we have, but also inspire young people towards amazing, creative and innovative careers. We find that our students at Northeast Futures UTC, the one that I work most closely with, they are so much more in tune with our industry's evolution and generally the tech sector's evolution, so they're much better prepared to take the next step in their career, whether that's university or in another direction. We see that we can elevate computer science to be on a par with the other more traditional sciences. We very much would like to give young people as much opportunity as possible to actually design and create their own content rather than using other packages. And we also give young people the opportunity to have an industry mentor. So we see that they're getting guidance and advice right at the beginning from age 14, and that's not generally available in other educational settings, but somehow just seems very appropriate in the way that it's done. So some of you may have seen Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where we have a discovery tour where we can help teach about Egypt and the way it's taught traditionally, but bring it to young people in a more interesting way. So we found that technology is just a really good means to educate. Virtual reality we see being used in all sorts of ways. It was made for the games industry, but now we see it on construction sites, or we see it in training generally. And just moving on to our next slide, just let's take a look at why we got involved. We really need a more diverse talent sector. We have a global audience and we need to reflect our audience. So we need more and more people to come into our sector to inspire, to create, to innovate. Having said that, I don't expect everybody who wants a digital career to come in and do games, but I would like to see it as an introduction to all of you, that you could get involved with artificial intelligence, cyber resilience, robotics, data science. These are massively growing areas of employment with hugely rewarding careers. And I suppose I would just like to finish by saying that our experience in working with the UTC has given us everything we'd hoped for and a little bit more. An opportunity to interact with young people who are enthusiastic, who have broadened their ways of learning and have given so much back when we've done projects actually in-house, and we've facilitated working groups to give back to us. And we've had some kind of expectation of output. However, we've always been surprised about the over and above delivery, and also giving us something that we didn't expect at all. And I suppose that's going back to my original topic. That's about inspiring innovation and creativity, and what we very much hoped for.
Thank you very much, Giselle. Finally, we have Isaac with us. Now, Isaac is an apprentice at Microsoft, but he started off life as a student at UTC Reading. So Isaac, tell us, how did the UTC education set you up for your current work?
I'd say UTC was really amazing for me. One of the things that it really set me up to do was to look at how do we approach work and how do we act in a professional manner. One of the things that I came in with a large apprenticeship cohort when I was hired into Microsoft, being such a large organization. And one of the things that people said was just how professional my manner was and how easily I was able to communicate with fellow colleagues just like they were individuals, rather than talking to them necessarily like they were a teacher or somebody who might be more official than me. And it created a environment where I was able to work with an ethic from 9 to 5 and work with those values that UTC puts in you, like growth mindsets, working towards making sure that you're devout towards your work and making sure that it's complete. It was really useful for me when moving into the workplace. If we could go to the next slide, please. So one of the things that I really want to take away here is we all obviously know who UTC are, and I really want to take into some of my journey that I went through UTC, showing that all of these talks here, that they're not just throwing information at you, that these are real opportunities that will come to you as a student of the UTC. I came into the UTC not really knowing where I wanted to go, and all of a sudden cybersecurity was presented towards me, which is what I've moved into, doing a degree apprenticeship at Microsoft. I was presented with things such as the Cybersecurity Challenge UK and Cyber Discovery, which is a government and a privately funded capture the flag competition for people to engage in hacking and sort of those things that we would consider nefarious in a safe manner, and allowed students the opportunity to engage in a competition and a fun environment where we fought against each other whilst working together to complete these challenges. We were provided with tools such as the immersive labs, which every single UTC student has available to them, regardless of whether they attend the extracurricular cybersecurity enrichment, and allows them the ability to upskill in things like Linux command line, like Windows command line, but also those further more nefarious needs and the tools that are really needed inside the cybersecurity industry. Join Cyber First is a great example of this. It's a government-run summer camp which I was able to attend, and this was all because the UTC introduced me to it. It also provided me with great qualifications. I think this isn't expressed enough. They paid for all of my Microsoft certificates in partnership with Microsoft. They paid for my Microsoft Office certificates, or MOSs. They paid for my Microsoft Technical Associations, or MTAs, which got me security learning, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, soft skills, and technical skills. I was lucky enough to become one of the UTC Reading, which is where I attended, student cyber lead. I was able to work with Thales doing a 6-week-long workshop where we had a cybersecurity consultant would come in and do week-long workshops with us. I was able to get a week's work experience with NTT Security looking inside the security industry. I was able to work with people like Fujitsu in the UTC Cyber Group, starting that up and looking at how we encourage cybersecurity within people who may have a technological background. I was able to work with Fujitsu specifically with the UTC Pipeline program, where we did over a period of I think it was 6 months or a year, we worked with them coming in regularly in a monthly basis, talking to us about those security fundamentals and also the technology fundamentals that come with the industry, which is largely not known a lot about it. Of course, this was my experience at UTC, but I want to talk a little bit about what this has led into and what UTC can lead to. So when we talk about the UTC, we normally think about going off into the world of work, and it's all difficult and it's all hard work. But no, I was introduced to a great apprentice cohort where we were able to go off to the Lake District for some team bonding, and we were able to really understand and develop a community. We were able to do fun activities such as rock climbing, which you can see in the picture here, but we were able to also build up those soft skills, which I saw people really quite struggling with. How do you interact and how do you address a problem? But all of these issues for me were addressed whilst I was at the UTC college. Also, just because I'm a cybersecurity apprentice doesn't mean that I don't get to do non-fun, not all cybersecurity related. I get to work on the cloud with Azure, with my colleagues as well, looking at how do we develop applications for that, which was all instilled for me from UTC. We're able to do like sort of catch the flag competitions. So the competitions that I was doing in the UTC, I'm now able to do in my Microsoft apprenticeship. These are all things that I'm able to do thanks to the UTC and thanks to the business connections that they get me. And that's one of the key things that I want to take away from this, is that those business opportunities that are presented here do happen, and they happen so often. And sometimes it can feel like you have a water hose firing at you and you can't grab all the opportunities. But I say just go for it. As long as you have the enthusiasm, the UTC has the ability to capacitate any need or any desire that you would like.
Great, Isaac. Thank you so much for your comments. That's a really wonderful story. We've got some time left now for some panel questions. First, I'd like to thank Microsoft, Fujitsu, Siemens, and Ubisoft for their time on this course. Some great feedback and advice in the current environment. We're also going to be enjoyed by the principals and the Year 13 students from LDE and from Energy Coast. Whilst they're joining, I was going to start with a quick question for Isaac. You just one question. Why did you decide to join UTC Reading way back when?
For me, actually, it was because my college my school didn't actually have a college, but I was directed towards the UTC for my passion of technology and for my passion of business impact. And this was, as soon as I went to one of the actual open events where we were able to attend it in person and walk around the college, we had perspectives from people just like ourselves on the call today, and it showed me the great insights that UTC provides you. You address teachers by their first name, and the principal would walk around the school and call everybody out by their first name, not in an act of show, but an act of he truly cared about them and the progress that they were making.
That's great, Isaac. Just a quick question to our employers on here. Maybe start with Giselle. I just wonder what advice you'd give to all young people in the current environment, the uncertain economic environment at the moment, when they're making choices.
For us, it hasn't really changed anything. We moved off-site well before the lockdown date, and we've been operating in small and large teams around the globe very, very effectively. High productivity levels. It took a little while to get used to it, but we're still making games, we're still designing, we're still brainstorming and concepting and doing everything we did before. Our biggest challenge has been managing the vast increase in the number of players online every day, but even so, we've managed to recruit around the world, virtually on board, and carry on supporting our community as best we can through COVID-19. And indeed, what better way to spend your free time than playing games, preferably Ubisoft games.
Absolutely. A few questions will come in for our principals. What's the biggest advantage of a UTC over other schools?
I can pick that one up if you want.
Great, thanks, Cherry.
The biggest advantage of a UTC over other schools, I think we've sort of touched on that. I think compared to another school, you'll probably get similar, maybe slightly better academic results. But what you won't get at other schools is that practical experience using industry standard equipment that when you go for an interview at university or with an employer, you can talk about. You also won't get that daily contact with employers and the experience working on real life projects. So again, you know, so many times I've had our young people come and say to me, I've just been for that interview and every question they asked me, I could answer from actual real stuff I've done. A group of our girls just got back from visiting, following a project they've been working on with Morgan Sindall, visiting the tunnels that are being built under the Thames, the Tideway tunnels. They then went for interviews for a civil engineering company and could talk about the tunnel, the concrete mix, the tunnel boring machine, etc. You just don't get that anywhere else.
We put that down to opportunities, and therefore, you know, we provide lots and lots of opportunities for the learners to take advantage of. So we have a saying at LDE which says, "Don't look back on missed opportunities," and therefore that's your second golden ticket of your experience to be able to talk to your employers.
Thanks. I'd love to hear some more from our students, Rihanna and Theo, about those opportunities. What's the best experience that you've had at the UTC? Let's go to Rihanna.
Oh,
put you on the spot there.
I know. I honestly think it's just like the chances that you get with employers and stuff like that. One of the things that we do at our UTC are mock interviews. So in the hall there's about 20-25 employers, and you get to like go and visit each one and have like a little practice run with interview questions and stuff like that. They're all industry employers, and it gets you prepared for real life interviews, because the majority of the time when you're going for interviews for apprenticeships and universities, at whatever stage, it's going to be like one of your first ones. But if like the way that our UTC does it, so you get to know that, and you get advice back, they look through your CV, you get pointers and stuff like that, and it just kind of prepares you more for the next stage.
That's great, thanks. Theo, how about you, your best experience?
I mean, like Rihanna, for me, it's quite hard to pinpoint one, but for me, it was probably in the first year where myself and Jeffrey went on BBC World News to talk about the annual budget outside the House of Parliament. And we had to talk a little bit about the upcoming T levels, which are going to be the sort of academic A levels to bridge that gap between your academic and technical vocations. And but there's just been so many, ranging from my EPQ, which I did as well. There's so many different aspects that come into it as well. It's really hard to pinpoint one.
That's fair, absolutely. Question for Jeffrey, probably, although Cherry may want to chip in as well. Obviously, in the current environment, lots of students are worried about what's happening with their exams and their exam results and stuff. We've had a question in: can you resit GCSEs in the autumn if they want to come to the UTC?
Yes, you certainly can. It's a short answer.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, sorry, I've just pinched your spot there, Jeffrey. But you'll know that the way that GCSE grades are going to be awarded this year is different. So schools are having to send in predicted grades for anyone that's in year 11 for every subject. And within that grade, so for example, if they say you're going to get a grade 4, the schools will have to rank where you are. So if 30 students are going to get a grade 4 in English language, they'll have to rank them from the highest within that grade 4 to the lowest. That gets sent off to Ofqual and the exam boards, and they make the decision about what grade will actually be given to that student. If you're not happy with your grade in the summer, there is two things. There's an appeal process, but there is also going to be, unusually and exceptionally this year, a chance to resit any of those exams in October, November time.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that's really reassuring. On a kind of similar vein, the question is about the application process for UTCs. Now, I'm aware it'll be slightly different depending on the UTC, but we've obviously got UT here as examples at opposite ends of the country, so quite a variety there. How will students know when their applications are successful in your UTC?
So if if you're applying for LDE UTC and you're a year 9, because we start at the age of 13, not 14, you'd have been sent a letter already. We're currently oversubscribed, but we do have a waiting list. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, I want to get on it, please do look at our website, look at how you apply straight off of the website, which is an application button that you can press there. You can also look at the websites and you can look at all the different courses. So every single course that we have is listed on the website. It tells you what you need to get on the course, what the course is involved. It even gives you a breakdown of what actually happens on the course over the 2 or 3 year period of the course, depending on which course that you take.
Thanks. I think that probably answers another question that we had on here, which is how much of the year 10 and 11 curriculum is practical study or book learning study?
I think certainly in most places that depends on the course that you're taking. I mean, if you're in year 10 and 11 at UTC, about 40% of your curriculum will be technical stuff and a large majority of that will be practical. If you're in the sixth form, about 60% of your curriculum will be technical, and again, quite a large percentage of that. But it will change depending on the course you're doing. If you're doing mechanical engineering, it will be different to if you're doing cybersecurity, for example. I don't know, is it the same for you, Jeffrey?
Absolutely, yes. And our teachers, where possible, will put the work world ready skills into the curriculum. So you might be learning something that's a straight standard part of the specification. However, they would compare that to what that would be like in industry and where you would use those skills, so that you can really see the links that are joined together there.
And I think what you've said as well about applying, I think pretty much all the UTCs, as far as I know, you can apply via their website. So it's definitely worth having a look at that. And most UTCs also are going to be having some information on their website about the courses they do, etc., and destinations, what destinations most people at that UTC go on to. So like we said before, it's worth spending a little bit of time having a look at all that. And then emailing or ringing the UTC that you're thinking about, and people will always get back to you with more info.
Absolutely. I think the best thing to put it is that even though we are not at college at the moment with the COVID times, all of our technology still works seamlessly as if we were at college. So if you ring the college, you'll get put through to the right person that you want to speak to. If you want to speak to the teachers about the curriculum, we can put you through to the right person. So, you know, if the website is not enough, please call us.
Thank you. We're short on time here, so I'm going to move on to a final question. If your question hasn't been answered, we will do our best to get back to you in written form. So hopefully you've left your name with the question, and we'll be able to contact you to reply to those. Final question, we're going back to the employers. Can you tell us a bit more about when you take on a UTC student, what does their life look like then? We've had a question, do the students who get hired for companies carry on with their university studies? Do you have any who do studying alongside work, or are they straight into the workforce?
Do you like me to take that?
Absolutely, John, that would be great, thank you.
So I have a good number of apprentices on my team. Most of them are doing a degree apprenticeship, and what we do there is they tend to attend a university 1 day a week to do their academic work. The other 4 days of work, they're in the office with us doing the same work as every other member of the team. What I would say is that, don't shout this too loud, but they actually give us an advantage over the grads recruit, because we end up using them to teach the grads how to do their job. So it's very much hands-on, doing what's necessary. My team are all about creating software, creating applications for business solutions. You'll be doing that 4 days a week and 1 day a week in uni.
That's great, John. What an excellent way to finish. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. Thank you to all our panelists, to Cherry at Energy Coast, and Rihanna, and Jeffrey and Theo down at London Design and Engineering UTC, to John Lockwood at Fujitsu, and Alex at Siemens, Isaac at Microsoft, and Giselle at Ubisoft. Thank you all for joining us today on the call. And thank you to everyone who's listened in. I hope you found it a very worthwhile overview of UTCs, and we've answered the all-important question of why choose a UTC. So that's all from me and from Roz. So thank you very much for attending, and we hope to see you at UTC soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye now.